your electrical career today.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with roof credit. Stock number G214773.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round. And their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Problem gambling can destroy an individual's finances, relationships, physical, and mental health. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, baby, on a Monday. I hope you are well, and I hope that you are having the kind of day you hoped for when you woke up this morning. And if you haven't had it, you got 6 hours to add to make it better. That's what we're trying to do. 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can hit us up on the text line. Hit me with a what's up. You know the deal. You know the deal. Hit me with a what's up. Don't just yell at me in a car passing by. Don't flip me off from a distance. Just say, yo, what's up? And we'll add you into the conversation. And this is a good Monday. Again, you can follow on the video streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Allo channel 961, Nebraska Cable, so you can see the handsome bearded face of our guest tonight.
Who's on the show?
Yeah. Let's welcome Dave Turcotte to One-on-One. Turk, what's happening, brother?
Hey, it's a great day. I am having a great day today, so I've had a good start, but I'm just lucky to be here. Thanks for having me on.
There's so much to this thing, and I got so many questions sent to me after last week's episode and the conversations with you, because you landed on several things that were of such intrigue to just sports fans, right? The people that are curious about how this thing works. And then in the time of March Madness, you get to help give some clarity from behind the scenes on how the stuff breaks down in basketball in full. So your first take on March Madness so far, I know that you are a consumer of basketball in full. So Turk, what's the first thing that jumps out to you? If I say March Madness, this year's version, what jumps out?
Awesome chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you right now, nobody in the world picked Oakland. That destroyed everybody's bracket. Nobody in the world picked, I don't think, Duquesne to beat BYU. That killed a whole other bunch of brackets. I mean, I love that ESPN reported literally on day 2, there are 0 perfect brackets left in the nation, like literally instantly destroyed. And I think that was great. You know, there's always a consensus that, you know, people always believe that there's regional television media bias on who gets in, who doesn't. I mean, generally there is some of that, but I think that's more in the meat in the middle. The very best teams, you know, are pretty typically the very best teams. And, you know, the very worst teams are typically those, like if you're arguing about, you know, between, you know, being the 70th best and the 64th best, well, okay, but still, you know, it's a great honor and a privilege to be in the NCAA tournaments, you know. But I would tell you that that's on the men's side. But if you say NCAA March Madness in general, I'd say the biggest story is the women's game. I mean, you know, I look at this whole thing and I love, like, I was just watching before the show. I think it was Syracuse, UConn were playing. Great plays being made. Like, and I'm telling you right now, these are stadiums that are full. There are people that are watching women's basketball. So I think as great as the men's thing is, and there's all the great stories, this year, more than any other year that I've ever been following basketball, the women's game is front and center, getting almost as many eyeballs as the men games. I'm seeing total parity there, but I'm seeing a game on the rise though. Like, I think, you know, there really is more growth and attention and media novelty and all kinds of things on the great women playing the game. A lot of the great personalities that are going to create great rivalries in the WNBA, right? And, you know, so there's a lot of fun things happening, but I would say, you know, it is an awesome chaos would be generally, but that couched in, wow, the women's game is really coming and it's awesome to see them having their day.
Turk, through all of this, right, from an athletic family and a lot of breadcrumbs left in place for you to know what success is and what it looks like. I'll ask you to give folks your elevator pitch, your scouting report on yourself. So you as a high school player, you at Colorado State, and then you as an Olympian, give the scouting report. Who was David Turcotte on the basketball court?
You know, it's interesting. The role on all 3 of those teams or all 3 of those levels were totally different, you know, and they morphed into, because you had to fit into different programs and different times. And I was actually talking to someone about this, about how, you know, every team has to have a certain chemistry and guys work together in different ways. So in high school, I was the guy that, you know, in fact, I had a high school coach, you know, I had a rival high school walks into the gym where I'm practicing and I'm just shooting by myself. And the coach walks in as a joke. And he was a friend, of course, small town. He goes, "Oh, looks like your team's having an offensive practice today." Like, it's all by myself. So I was probably 70% of my team's offense back in high school. And so I was a guy that would have been, let's just say that, surprise, I would have been a lot more athletic than you would have thought. I would have been a shooter that would like really shooting and scoring was my thing. And my favorite players, by the way, growing up, let's go old school. I loved Norm Nixon. I loved Andrew Toney. Vinnie Johnson, loved Vinnie Johnson, and I emulated a lot of those guys, and like guys that were, quick, one dribble, two dribble, stop and pop guys, but strong defenders. But my big thing is because I was a better athlete, I was always a good defender, always super aggressive and really intense. Like if it was going to go down, it was going to go down. We were going to go blood, sweat, and tears all the way to the end, 44 minutes of hell, whatever it is, right? It was going to happen. So as a player, high school that way. College was different because I had, unfortunately, through high school and college and even beyond, I always had multiple coaches and interruptions in the game. So from my early years in college, it was, I was a shooting guard playing with but I was kind of the new novelty. I was on the all freshman team in the conference and all that. And then I was doing a lot more scoring. By the time I got to my senior year, we had issues on our team where, hey, you know what? You got to kind of we're going to slow things down to scoring 80 points a game to scoring 53 points a game. And we're going to lead the nation in defense, which we did at Colorado State, where I played college ball. So my game had to shift to meet the expectations of a coach. And, in college, who I love dearly, we won 23 games. We did really well, went to the NCAAs the year after that. And so it was a lot of changing depending on the, sort of the demographic constituents of my coaches and my teammates, what we had to do there. But after college, it was, all bets are off. And, now you're playing, to get international eyeballs on you. And so for me on the Olympic team in particular, the one thing that kept me on the team so long were two things, I should say. I could guard anyone like 1 through 3. So I could guard because I'm only 6'3", but with not a lot of body fat, I'm 224 pounds. So I'm really able to get in there. And I was guarding guys like Oscar Schmidt, the guys, of course, Michael Jordan, but guys like Oscar Schmidt, that stretch 3, almost 4, 6'8", 6'9", shooting deep. But I could get in there and was strong enough to push guys around and get them off their spots and make their lives miserable, right? So that was really what my job was, to get shooters and scorers and make them uncomfortable. So I was always guarding, and I was a primary defender where, okay, who's the best player on the other team? That's who I'm guarding, unless he's a 5, basically, was my role. So that was the number one thing that prolonged my career after college. Add to that, at least in FIBA, I was stroking it pretty good, over 50% from the 3-point line. So, so if you can defend like a beast and then get in there and be able to knock down shots and then let your stars go, like, guys like Steve Nash and other guys that I played with, that guys like that, the game just flows and you want to get out of the way and be like, all right, here's where I got to be. I know where my spots are to make it work on this team. Because at an Olympic or a pro team, there's lots of scorers, right? So it's like, how do we work together? And so I didn't sit there and argue about, I got to be the number one guy. I got to be the first choice. I got to be the first option. I hooked in by saying, I'm going to be the best defender on our team. And I'm going to be the guy that makes that guy scoring 30 a game. He's going to get 18. And that worked for everybody except Michael Jordan, because that didn't work at all.
Turk, here's the thing. There's so much, and this is why I wanted to share you with sports fans here, because there's so much behind the curtain stuff that goes on, and your intellect and breaking it down is a little different than what is being fed. I'll ask you this thing, because you just said that defense, in spite of all things, defense was the thing that was going to keep you in the game and made you important. Why is that message so lost on the next generation of players? Why do we have to define to people, listen, everybody can score, defenders get to play?
I'll tell you something. One of my favorite players of all time, and I guarantee you is one of yours too, Jamal Crawford.
Yep.
Just said it best on ESPN. AAU teams getting, like my kids in the 10th grade and help me get them into Stanford. Like there's this crazy hyper competitive cottage industry built, and it starts before high school. As you know, like these are AAU teams running for 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And they're talking about their kid going to college, D1, playing professionally. I'm like, are you out of your freaking mind?
Yeah.
Your basketball player at 11 should be thinking about his next soccer practice, or maybe his next chess club, or some other stuff that helps them grow in lots of ways outside of the basketball court. So Jamal Crawford, I think, touched on what a lot of my friends. Now, you remember my friend Brian Sitter, who runs Vegas Elite, same thing. Yeah. It's a hard balance to say, we want kids getting a chance to play games, but kids got to go to the woodshed too. You got to have hours a day where it's just, okay, I'm working on one drill, one thing. And so I think the reason that a lot of that message is lost is because they're getting into high school saying, they're doing the math. Here's the top 100 players on the 100 ESPN. How many of those are like, well, this guy's awesome. He gets 13 rebounds and he keeps the opposing player to 60% less than his scoring average? Said no one ever. It's always how many points a game do you get? How many assists a game do you get? That's all the stats anybody cares about. And so unfortunately, that's kind of a toxicity that if you look at every coach in the world, they're going to say, like, think about it. If you're a college coach, what would you do to have a guy like Dennis Rodman on your team that is just an absolute monster defender and will get you 50% of every rebound that ever falls down? But the problem is that the industry and the money around sports skews things in an artificial way that's not true to the game. Like last time we talked, right? The NBA rules. Why are the NBA defensive rules the way they are? Why isn't it like FIBA or international basketball where guard anybody, play zone, play man, do double and triple teams, do whatever you want? Who cares? Why do we need rules around defense? It's because it's better for television. It's better for entertainment to make the game. So there's a huge push. Now, is anyone complaining about players getting millions of dollars and the value of TV revenue, the value of media? And you're a member of the media, which is a great voice in the media. All of these things are driven by sponsors and getting more eyeballs. That's just a reality. But if you look at every great team that's ever prospered and won over time, I can't think of one where you would say, really, really good offense, but terrible defense, and they won championships anyway, right? Like everyone knows that defense wins championships. So it's kind of like you got to get, to get your star power and you get your offensive players in. That's always issue one. How are we going to score? How are we going to create offense? But that's about great entertainment. When you want to start talking winning, you got to bring in your guys that can defend. And so that's where I was about, which was like, look, every year on a pro team, on our Olympic team, every single year I heard about the next phenom coming out of high school. Oh, this guy's amazing. He can dunk from the free throw line. I'll drop a name for you. Back in the day when I was near the end of my career, there's this guy named Phil Dixon out of Toronto. I'm telling you, that guy was LeBron James before LeBron James. And he really was, by the way. Like 6'7", long, could pass, super athletic, great intellect, great player. And so here's this up-and-coming kid. Well, what's the one thing I'm going to do that they have to have on the team that he's not going to do? He's not going to guard someone for 40 minutes, deny the ball, make every pass miserable, because those offensive players, they need their energy to make those plays, right? There's a reason that Luka, Kyrie, Steph, you don't hear about them being 40 minutes of held defenders. There's other things they're doing, and there's other roles in the team. So as I got older and older, as long as you can knock down that three and defend, you're going to have a career that can last. And there's a lot of guys in the league right now, that's how they're sticking around. That even in the NBA, WNBA, you've got to have defenders. That's not one of those, well, our style of play goes X, Y, or Z. You've got to have defenders. It is a rule if you want to win. Every team has to have those guys. Every team doesn't have to have a guy that can score 50 a game. There's lots of other ways to win offensively. Defense it is what it is. You're either getting stops or you're not. And if you can't deliver stops, you're never going to win. So I think that's why the short-term myopic view of sports for AAU people, for parents and AAU coaches trying to get recruiting and get their kids to get into NIL and all that other stuff. They want the flash, they want the pizzazz. So they get that short-term tactical view of this is how I have to manage my career. But in the long run, playing and having staying power and being a complete player doesn't have the other side. So it's usually an afterthought. And that's why I think parts of the reason the game is suffering, but I also think that's why the focus is off on what's really winning. And if you talk to a lot of coaches, they'll tell you that, they'll tell you that the wild card is always, all things being equal between two players, you'll take the better defender if everything else is a tie, right?
Yeah, it needs to be said on repeat. And this is the thing. So we're talking to Dave Turcotte. Dave played at Colorado State, part of the several Canadian Olympic basketball teams. And there's so many stories that we'll get to later about that Olympic process, your matchups against the U.S. teams from those eras. We'll get to those later in this episode. But you're talking about winning, and I think some of it gets missed from the coaching side about one, defining what winning is, like how it happens. There is a process to it. And then the backside of that is in today's game, everything is so temporary that, as you said, you had multiple coaches, and there are problems that happen when there's no consistency in the coaching position. So I'll ask you how to build a program, what's good for basketball, and keeping players in a program at a university, coaches honoring contracts. You get a part of the legal, the contracts and all those things. Turk, how do we fix the base level things of defining what's good for the game and then putting it in operations?
You know, it's interesting on the lawyering side, right? Like another guy that I'm a fan of in the media, Jay Billis, right? Who also has a law degree, I believe.
Yep.
And see, that's the thing that I think. So first and foremost, what I love about what's happening now is, and by the way, I was one of the guys back when I was playing saying, hey, you join a program that's failing economically or not winning, and you come in and you help a program win, that's worth millions of dollars to your school, right? We talked about Nick Saban saying, well, you know, this isn't really what it used to be. I don't like where this is going. Well, yeah, because Nick, you're making $7 million a year and your players are making nothing. So yeah, in a changing world where we got to divide up that economic pie to share with players, I am all about recognizing these young men and women are 18 and older. They can serve in the military. They're coming to bring economic value. And I am totally a fan of all of the things that recognize what it took for them to get there. Okay. So first and foremost, this is not any criticism of the evolution of sports and the revenue recognition that players that were theoretically amateurs, 5 years ago and beyond. I like the trend to equalizing that and giving economic relief. Okay. Now, having said that, if you're talking about if the end goal for any program is on a youth basis is I want to get kids that have an opportunity to play Division I and beyond. The first reality is in this world, Charles Barkley steps in. Well, now you're only talking, if you just say Division I college basketball, well, now you're talking about 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1% of all of the players that are going to run through your program, right? So if you think about a normal high school program in a regular city, not the top high school, not Mount Vernon or wherever where Kobe went, and not these aggregating high schools where they bring in superstars from all outside. I'm talking a regular high school trying to do a great program. You're not going to see a lot of those from, like I live in Utah. How many NBA level or Division I level players are coming out of, all of high school sports for all of the schools? Yeah, there may be 10 or 15 good players in a state of 3 million people, right? So programmatically, I think a lot of it falls on the parents. Parents are trying to push their kids into what they call as many opportunities as they can, but it's more like the opportunity to get into a showcase to show off skill sets. I think a lot of it is recognizing that needs to be balanced out with there are opportunities for that, make them more selective, really teach kids, men and women, the long-term need to realize what it takes to perfect your craft as an athlete, which means, and this is where I'm all into the things that Kobe has said, what about the time for mindfulness and meditation and getting your head right about who you are? Spiritually, personally, physically, emotionally, as an athlete. Number one, take the time for that mindfulness as an athlete to help make you, that improves your performance over time. Go to work, put down the iPhone, get out of social media, get off all that crap. There is no substitute. There is no DP. One word that I hate. There is no hack for playing competitive sports. It's a life hack. I mean, everyone's looking for hey, I did 3 clicks on my phone and I'm getting drafted in the first round. Like never happened. Okay.
Right.
So get rid of that idea that there's a shortcut. There is not. So in other words, quit defending your kid or impeaching the coach for more playing time. And I'll give you a perfect story in my own personal life with my own daughter, who's a soccer player. The issue is playing time and coaches and other stuff. And parents come to me and I turned to her and I said, hey, you need to go to work. You have to be so good, the coach has to keep you on the field. Stop complaining. Stop looking for someone else to bail you out of the fact that you're just not that good where you can demand playing time. And that, I think, is that whole notion of this is a long, you want to be a professional or a college player. It is, I love I don't know who did it, DP, but I love this whole notion of perfecting your craft. This is what I do, right? And so for me, it's like thinking of it that way, that this isn't something I'm going to figure out in one summer. This isn't something I'm going to figure out because I went to so-and-so's NBA All-Star camp, or I got it. In my day, it was getting invited to 5-Star or Nike or whatever. You're not figuring this out in a week. You're going to learn some things, and then you better go to work for a couple years and work on that jumper. You got to grind and grind and grind. And I think if we thought more about the mindset of a young athlete, forget about being entitled, forget about your expectations, just go to work. And if you go out there and blow people away because of your skill and your work, you're going to get as much playing time as you want. You're going to get as many opportunities as you want if you do the work. And I think that's where, as I think about the biggest problem leading up to D1 programmatically, it's at that youth level. From a college level, I would put it a little bit differently, where then the business and the portal changes things, because it used to be you could lock up an athlete for 4, maybe 5 years, right? But now you can't. Like remember we all used to joke about Calipari and the one and done rule. Hey, I'm going to bring them in for 1 year, and then they're all going to go to the league, and then I'll bring in the next talented thing. Speaking of which, look at Calipari's exit. That you have to. I think what I love about the NIL thing is that you have to be able to communicate to a young athlete. Yes, this is how you're part of a team. This is my expectations for accountability. This is what our work ethic is like. This is what our culture is like. But also, and this is where a smart coach will go, but this is how I'm your best path forward to achieve the dreams you want to achieve as an individual. Yes, the team always has to be the context, the canvas upon which a great player can create great art on the court, on the field, wherever. But coaches today that don't have, now they have to earn that player's trust that they're really going to put it out there. And if you go to a couple of kids, and on social media, right? If I'm recruiting you, DP, as a college athlete, and I say, you know what, DP, you're going to start, you're going to get this opportunity. Here's what's going to happen. It's on you. I'm with you. I support you. And I lie about that to get you to sign for me with another year, and you ride the bench, and instead of being a starter, you average 6 points a game 1 year, and it kills your professional personal stock. As a coach, I'm only going to get to do that once. And social media will roast that coach alive, as it should. So I do think now what I really like about the way the economics have shifted, I don't think it's about the players being accountable. What I think is a lot of coaches don't like being held accountable. Okay. Coaches don't want to be accountable. Athletic departments don't want to be accountable. They don't even want to acknowledge that all these great kids have brought so much economic value to the program. There's always the negative of, the entitled athlete that shows up to think they should get everything. Okay. Hey, really, Nick Saban, and I always use Nick because he's one of the highest profile coaches that makes an enormous amount of money. Really? Okay, you need $7 million a year. You can't survive on $5. Like, your love of coaching and passion, if you're not getting $7 million and you're only making $4 million a year as a coach, that's not it. Your passion plus $4 million a year isn't enough to keep you in the game. You can't spread $3 million a year amongst 30 or 40 players. Really? See, that hypocrisy is what I struggle with, because I hate it when they talk about that old school chariots of fire, amateur sport, and the beauty and the value of sport. That's great, as long as we're all in the same economics dynamics, right? As long as the money rules apply to all of us. Yes, I'm all about amateurism. And just so you know, DP, when I was playing college, I got my scholarship. I had no money. I lived on $40 a week from my parents.
That's it.
That's all they could afford. It was like food, and if you're lucky, maybe a movie.
Turk, again, this is why I really was excited about being able to bring you into these conversations, because there's logic and sanity and intelligence, and it just changes perspective. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll pick up there, because I do want to ask him, as a coach and as a player, how you focus a whole season, what the priority is. Like, now you're into the far extreme, but you're paid as a major to win in the regular season, be successful in the regular season, then conference tournaments, and then national tournaments. And I want to ask him, as a player, what that mentality was like, how he went through the process of defining what success meant: regular season, postseason, and a national tournament. Dave Turcotte, DP, here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through March 26th is spend $25 and receive a free 10-ounce New York strip. Limit 4 per visit. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations on 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round. And their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today. .93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to .93.7 The Ticket.
Back to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to One-on-One on a Monday. And David Turcotte, Colorado State, one of their top, I want to say he's top 7. Probably the number varies, but again, legitimate. And how many Olympics were you in? How many Olympic teams did you make, kind sir?
2 for sure, 3 maybe if you include being an alternate when I was still in high school in 1984.
Okay, so that's why I asked the question, right? So now wrap your brain around this, that in the conversation, that he's so good that he's an Olympic alternate while in high school. And from an American standpoint, you're looking at Shaq,
mm-hmm.
and that's it.
It counts.
Like there's Shaq, and that's it. It's not Jelly Bean Joe Bryant. It's not Joe Willoughby. It's not Daryl Dawkins. Turk's in a unique and elite situation. So walk me through that process, right? That you're identified as having the talent and you're putting in the work. How did you end up in that situation, Turk? Tell us.
Yeah, well, it was amazing how fast it happened. And the one thing that I had an advantage of, remember I told you about being physical and being an athlete. Well, I've been playing hockey since I was 3 years old. Okay. So what that meant was, now think about what a hockey player does. It's all about big, powerful lower body, but it's all lateral speed. Like the faster you are laterally. So literally my lateral quickness, footwork, like hockey was a great preparer for that. It also made ankles strong, knees strong, lower body strong. So from a physical perspective, I was always a little bit ahead. So even as a senior in high school, I was still 208, 9, almost 10 pounds in high school, right? So that's a pretty big, and I'm only 6'2" at the time, 6'3". I think I topped out about 6'2 and a half, maybe 6'3" in height. So that's, 6'3", 210. That's a pretty good size guard, a combo guard, kind of 1-2 player. Yeah. So basically in Canada, though, I will tell you, though, we really didn't have much of a national program. One of the things that I kind of bristle at a little bit is everybody in the American audience believes that Canadian basketball was born when Vince Carter showed up at the Raptors and we got an NBA franchise, right? And I'm like, kind of no, but the truth is so remember in the last show, we talked about Jack Donahue, which coached at Lou Alcindor then, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in high school in New York,
right?
Coached at Holy Cross. And then when Canada got the 1976 Olympics, we were hosting and we were going to be able to put a team in. Then it was like, oh, we better get serious about this whole basketball thing, And so Canada's national Olympic team program was really born on a large scale. We had a national team, but really thinking about it nationally and looking at it in a programmatic way, it really kind of crescendoed into 1976. So we come in, that team does okay, didn't medal or anything like that, but we participated. Then the 1980 team was much, much better, but that was the year of the Russian boycott. So in 1980, I'm basically a 9th grader, okay? And so I had a kid so here's how it starts. One of the greatest players in the history of our country, in fact, the guy that walked Steve Nash. So like there's such a close community. When you talk about high school players that made the national team in the history of Canada, there are 3. Leo Routens, which was a 13th pick overall, Syracuse.
That's it.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Steve
Nash after me, and then me. So I'm in the middle of those 2 guys. And Leo, of course, was a hero of mine. And Steve is the greatest Canadian ball player that's ever lived, obviously. And he will be for probably forever. Okay. But I will tell you that, and I have a great Steve Nash story that I'll tell you later about some other stuff that I'd love to share that I want people to understand. Mindset goes to our earlier stuff. But what happened was that we started to do regional teams and we started to do provincial teams and we started to have these tryouts in these tournaments. I was doing a camp with this guy, Eli Pasquale, and here's this 9th grader and I'm bouncing around and I can't really play basketball very well, but I just, for whatever reason, fell in love with the game, right? So then came back the next year as a 10th grader, taller, and of all the 10th graders, I'm the only one dunking a basketball and doing any of that kind of stuff, and immediately got picked up by a regional team where the junior national team coach happened to be there. So what would be my junior year in high school, they picked me up, and so it would have been 1982, 83, I think, picked me up and like, well, we're just putting together kind of our first junior national team ever. We need guys that play and are physical. And so they put me on the team. And I wound up scoring about 25 a game for that team and touring the world and going over to play in Spain and all over Spain and Italy as part of that junior national journey. But for us, it was very organic, where they were looking all over the country. The coaches were traveling, looking for, hey, anybody know who the players are? They went, obviously Canada's geographically bigger than the United States, but it's got 1/10 the population, right? All of Canada's population is less than the population of California. I think we're like 37, 38 million in the entire country, right? Yeah. But the good news is most of us live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. So the search parameters were pretty good. So they hit every major city and they went looking for players, having discovery camps. And so here I am in this camp, and, I just had some things I could do at an early age, all because of this Eli Pasquale guy that was this great mentor to me, to Steve, and to Nash, and to many others that came after him. And he passed away, sadly, a couple of years ago of cancer, but like just an absolute legend in our country. And because of him, I fell in love with the game. Because of him, I got involved in the regional tournaments and the discovery process. He told me, hey, go to these camps, go to these places, and if you can play, they'll grab you. And they did. And so when the junior national thing happened, it went really, really well. I was even surprised myself. I was just I was one of those things where as a young kid, I had no idea that I was a young player and a rookie, and I shouldn't be thinking like I'm going to walk out there and own the building. I just didn't know.
Right.
It reminds me, you remember when Arizona won the national championship and they had like Simon and the two young cats, and they kept saying, these guys have no idea the game that they're in. They have no idea, knowing that they shouldn't even be here. Well, that was me. I had no idea. Who's this? And by the way, when I walked out there looking like a hockey player, like, who's this dumb hockey player meathead? Thinking he's going to come out here. And of course, I just went at him like, let's go, I didn't know any better. And so I just went after it, and it turned out really well. And, it's kind of launched it from there.
Well, we're going to have to, I know that you broke some hearts by telling people that Steve Nash is the greatest Canadian player ever, because the Bill Winnington mob will come after you pretty quickly and pretty heavily.
Well, two-time MVP, you're going to have to suck that one up, folks. But Billy is great. Billy was a teammate of mine for a lot. And by the way, Billy, one of the great human beings on the program, in our program's history. I think he does media for the Chicago Bulls to this day, the Bulls to this day. Great human being, great player, great guy. And again, like, you got to remember, when I'm on the national team, I'm like 18. Billy's 26. Like, everybody I played with were 9-10 years older than me. Right. And so here's this kid nobody wanted hanging around. And Billy was always really kind and gracious and a great mentor to me. And so, like, even though you say that, and I say Steve Nash, but he is one of our greats too, and always will be. Right.
Who are some of the other names, Turk? I mean, even currently as we were talking about with international ball getting ready to be the focus again, that Canada has some talent. Talk to me about some of Canada's great talent.
Well, my favorite player, Canadian, right now is everyone in the world's favorite player right now when it comes to the point guard position, other than Luka, and that's Shea, SGA, out of Oklahoma Thunder. Right. I mean, he's killing it. He'd probably be the MVP, I think, if it wasn't so much, what are you going to do about, Denver and Jokic, right? Like, he's just untouchable as an MVP candidate. But Shea is amazing. Then we got Jamal Murray. Kelly Olynyk was with the Jazz, and which was great. We got to see each other once in a while in the grocery store and passing kind of thing. But you've got Kelly Olynyk, that's a great foundational, older, experienced player that knows how to let the ball run through him to get to players. Trey Lyles is one. Andrew Wiggins, great. Can obviously, and it's really interesting with Wiggins as a wild card for me, because you've seen him play like in the playoffs last year. He can come out there and in the highest level in the world be dominant if he wants to, right?
Yeah.
He's doing great. Corey Joseph, great backup. Tristan Thompson is a Canadian player. Corey and Tristan, of course, played at Texas together. You got Chris Boucher, who's with the Raptors. We've got a roster 12 people deep of all NBA players, right, that are going to be out there causing a lot of heartache for some folks. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Turk, I mean, that's why I got goosebumps just thinking that the game has evolved and developed in such a way that list of players, like, if you said to me, this is an Olympic team, where does the world stand on notice? The answer is yes. And I think you have to go back and say, listen, they stand on the shoulders of guys like Bill Winnington, Dave Turcotte, Steve Nash, Pascali, Triano. There's some guys that went back and built this thing when it wasn't the focus. It wasn't priority. Hockey's always going to be that thing. They managed to create that in Canada. And I'm glad you're doing the work to keep those stories alive and to keep those folks in the public visibility. I don't want that to ever be a thing. Turk, we're going to go to break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you to load up one of the Dream Team stories. I'm going to ask you, and it doesn't have to be the one that people think you're going to tell, but any story that you want to tell facing an USA Olympic team, I want you to load that up and give it to us when we come back.
You got it.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Problem gambling can destroy an individual's finances, relationships, physical, and mental health. If you are a loved one or struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card Spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry, this deal ends soon. See Home Club for details.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you are passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through March 26th is spend $25 and receive a free 10-ounce New York strip. Limit 4 per visit. And don't forget about lunch on Fired Up Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Locations on 84th and Havelock and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
You're spending $300 a month Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's always going to be a fast hour when Dave Turcotte is in the conversation, and it's much appreciated. You folks have been on the streams. Thank you very much for hanging out with us and adding to, and greatly appreciate it. Turk, we were talking about, Canadian Olympics and the thing. Listen, you've been in some spaces that are pretty incredible. And again, the list of just your teammates, people that you've played with and helped build this thing along the way. But there's situations that happen, and Canada ends up being matched up against some USA Olympic teams. And so I'll ask you, and again, of course, we'll do this again next Monday because, quite frankly, I'm enjoying the conversations, and I know, Harrison, I'll ask you to chime in. These have been really good.
Yeah, I'm learning. I can say that.
Like, these have been really good. So I'm appreciative of you, Turk, for making time and adding to the value and content on this station. But let's talk Team Canada versus Team USA. Is there a story of note? And again, it doesn't have to be you against Jordan. It could be you. It could be the Canadian team and any U.S. team. What story comes to mind?
I'll give you a 2-for-1.
Okay.
And they will be 92. So first thing off, any discussion of any other team other than the 92 team being called the Dream Team is ludicrous. I'll just say that right now, because literally, think about the scouting report. And so part of the story starts with the scouting report. Literally, except for Christian Laettner, okay, and maybe the center position slightly because you didn't have Kareem or Wilt, right? But literally, other than the center position, every single player in every position is the greatest player to ever play the game in that position. Not they're just really good. Like, okay, all-time greatest point guards of all time. Stockton, Magic Johnson.
Yep.
Magic Johnson is number one on everyone's list to this day. And then you go Stockton. See, I go Stockton, Steve Nash. I don't know who I would like better because Steve's a better shooter, but, that's just me, right? But then you got Jay Kidd, but it's Stockton, Magic, 1 and 2. Best 2 guards of all time.
Yep.
Michael Jordan, unparalleled. Small forward, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, power forward. It's not like they're all pretty good. No, they're the greatest ever, right? Still to this day. Now, LeBron, of course, is up there now and getting on the Mount Rushmore. So just for purposes of context, Michael Jordan in 1992, though, that was I believe, the pinnacle of his greatness. Like, that was the year he dropped 70 on Clyde Drexler's head, the other guy that was supposedly one of the greatest 2 guards of all time, right? The Hall of Famer guy. Yep. And he toyed with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's where, and so here's the story that I'll start with Jordan and I'll reflect it in the game that occurred. So speaking to your boy Bill Winnington, so we're doing the pregame warm-up and we're going through the team. Okay, Billy, you're going to start with so and so, and they're going down the lineups. You're starting with this guy, and we're going through the whole starting lineup, and we've done the whole thing. And of course, they saved me for last. And Turcotte, you're going to start with Jordan. And there's like this silence for like 5 seconds, and then the whole team starts laughing. Like, I'm going like, what do you mean? And then here I am all mad. Wait, what do you mean? I'm gonna, I'm out there. I got this guy. We're gonna do whatever. But part of the story was so first of all there was that. But then what we decided, by the way, as a strategy, if you go back and watch the game, our strategy was not to go out there and try to like make it all intense and play hard. It was like, look, these guys could obliterate you at a moment's notice, right? If they decide to turn it on, it's over. So we said, you know what? We're going to be relaxed, light, keep it friendly. Let's just keep it close. So I know all these guys, right? So I knew, Karl Malone and all these guys were guys that I played with in earlier years against USA basketball. So I'm walking out there. Hey, I got the guy on the, I don't know, this guy, the guy in the Wheaties box. I got him.
Yeah.
Like we kind of, hey, whatever. It's like, F you, Turk, whatever. But everyone knows everybody. Okay.
Right.
Leo Routens is a starter. He knows everybody. Billy knows everybody. Mike Smrek was the other center. He played with the Lakers, right?
Yep.
Everybody knew everybody. So we're walking out there. We get going. And, of course, by the end of the first half, we're only down like 7, which is like – and we're keeping it close. We're in the game. But the thing with Jordan was – here's the positive one. Very early on, like, of course, you study Jordan all day long. And when Jordan in the open court always had this right in and out, right-hand crossover to blow by you and just take off on the fast break, right? So when he's getting the ball early in the fast break. So one of the very early plays of the game, I'm like, he's coming right at me full speed. And I'm like, well, let's see if film study is any good. And I kind of fake like I'm going with him, and I jump back in the opposite direction. And sure enough, it surprised him, and he bobbled the ball, and I stole the ball. I was so excited to have ripped Michael Jordan that I actually ran in the wrong direction. I just stole the ball from Michael Jordan, and I ran in the wrong direction. And my buddy Ron McMahon, who was just here in Utah with me this weekend, we actually laughed about the story. And he's like, Turk, this way. I go, oh, yeah. And I passed him the ball. We run up the court, and I'm like, score. And that's one of those things where, can you imagine what that would be worth to me now on Twitter, Instagram, whatever? It'd be like, retire and buy the house. I just ripped Jordan on in front of. And by the way, there were over 1 billion people watching that game.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was at the time, every time the Dream Team played, like, there was a new record, right?
Yeah.
And for Canada at the time, just like now, I'm not a real NBA player. We talked about that. I'm one of those guys that got his fingernails on the free agency side, hung out for a bit, and eventually got cut. So I was a borderline guy, probably could have played under the right circumstances, but not a real player. But Leo definitely was.
Yeah.
Billy definitely was.
Yeah.
Smrek definitely was. And so we had 3 or 4 guys that were legitimate NBA players. So of all the teams in the world at that time, we would have had as many NBA players as anyone. And so there was some novelty there. So anyway, that was one thing. But here's what happens at halftime. Here's the story part 2. So we're playing pretty close, and I feel like, hey, I've done great. He hasn't blown us out. I think he only had 12 points the entire game, by the way, but that wasn't really because of me. That was just him choosing not to do anything. But we go into the tunnel, and here's where the lunacy begins. We were going down the tunnel, and we're all sharing the same tunnel. And we're all going like, hey, everybody. And I'm going like, sweet, nobody say anything. It's real quiet. Young guy on the team, I will not say his name, just because I don't want him to get any hate for this. He's all excited. See what I mean, fellas? We can play with these guys. We can hang. We can do all this. Way to go. We got this, guys. We got this. Magic Johnson turns to me and goes, all right, Turk, I see what's up. And I was just like, oh, man. Oh, no. And sure enough, second half, full court man-to-man.
Oh.
So imagine, and I forgot to mention one of those other little itty-bitty players, small forward, greatest of all, Scottie Pippen, another all 50, right? So imagine the width of a basketball court, put Magic Johnson 6'9" in the middle, Scottie Pippen on one side, Michael Jordan on the other, put their arms outstretched. That's enough wingspan to almost cover the entire width of the court, right? And they're coming at you every possession. Well, we wound up losing by 24 or something like that. So let's just say they just turned it on and said, nope, game over, and hit it. And I was like, but it was still phenomenal. And I will tell you, it was hard because you can have all the confidence in the world you want. And I was, me, I'm as confident as any guy in the world. But when you're literally trying to look at a player that you're playing and say, what's the weakness in this guy? And that's where I get really bothered. But remember last time I said I hate it when people talk about a guy like Jordan or a guy like Kobe or Jerry Rice or Karl Malone or fill in the blank greatest of all time, LeBron James. The people that say they are that guy because, they just came out of the womb like that because they had so much talent that they're just lucky. And, that's some loser saying, well, I would be as good as them too if I was as talented, right? And that's a disgusting lie that is a discredit to their legacies as player. Michael Jordan, what I love about him and what I love about Steph Curry in today's game, watch his footwork, watch his skills. He was fundamentally perfect. Right hand, left hand, dribbling, posting up. When you look at him as a player, I looked at him and felt like there isn't any part of his game that I can deal with. Now let's talk, I'll go down the line. Magic Johnson, I'm quicker than him. And believe it or not, lower body strength, I would be stronger than him. So I could, because my lower center. So of course he's the greatest of all time. But with Magic Johnson, I could at least make him do things where he would have to make a play in an area where he was quasi uncomfortable. Okay. Think about Clyde Drexler, incredibly right-handed player. Get on his left hand, make him move more to his left. Don't let him come back to a strong right hand. He's still going to make plays, but he's not going to shoot 51%. He's going to shoot 37% going to his left, right? Scottie Pippen, bump him, hit him early, make him pull back and hit a mid-range jump shot. Because Scottie either had a flat-out, naked, wide-open step-in three with nobody around him, or he's finishing at the rim, but nothing in between. So you could go down all of those players and say, there's something that they're not good at that I could try to force them into a shot that it's at least not a really high percentage shot. You're not stopping any of those guys. And let me make it very clear. DP, I'm not saying, yeah, I give Magic Johnson fits. No, I didn't. But I can make Magic Johnson. I have something that I can do to try to make a play that's a lower percentage outcome play for the win. Okay. With Jordan, it was literally like, and his greatness was because of his like no wasted energy. A lot of athletic ability, sure, but no wasted energy, perfect footwork, timing, skill sets. The things he could do that were so great was because of an incredible level of skill. By the way, that you only get when you got 5 older brothers kicking your ass in the driveway at home, forcing you to learn how to score against bigger, taller, older brothers that are trying to beat you down every day. I bet you the toughest players he ever had to play against were at home.
Yeah, his older brother. Yeah, his older brother.
Being a 12-year-old kid playing against your college skill level brother who's just not going to give you a break, right? So that's why I always try to make that point about it really is something to say that it's the only time in my life I've guarded every other player that you can imagine. It's the only time in my life I really felt like there's really nothing I can do to make this guy do something he doesn't want to do.
Man,
and that was the thing. But that's the difference, you know.
Turk, here's that. It's so good. This is what we're gonna do this again next Monday night. We're gonna keep you in the roster, kind sir. I got you in the game. I need to keep you in the game. Turk, much appreciated, brother. I'll text you as soon as we get done here.
Hey, always great to see you guys. Thanks so much. Honored to be involved. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you, brother. That's Dave Turcotte. Good stuff. Harrison Orange, don't let him go anywhere. DPE is up next here on The Ticket and The Ticket weeknights.